This cookie might have been made by the next Duff Goldman.
Sorry, was that gross?
Today, let's venture to where Duff Goldman, future celebrity, James Beard, and Michelin-starred chefs come learn how to cook. 2 hours north of New York City, you will find the CIA. Not that CIA. The Culinary Institute of America, located in Hyde Park, New York. The school dedicated to teaching classical and latest techniques in cooking. The staff, the ever-growing restaurant and hospitality industry around the world. I'm excited to share with you my experience of this easily accessible, reservation-free restaurant, the Apple Pie Bakery Cafe, when school is in session.
Bueller.
You might know some of these alumni chefs. Grant Achatz, Richard Blais, Marcus Samelsson, Kat Cora, Brian Voltaggio, and Thomas Keller,
look at that.
who has an honorary degree from the CIA. And in fact, 1/5 of the Michelin-starred restaurants are owned or led by CIA graduates. Before I share the review of the apple pie, let's talk about the other restaurants that are open to the public but need reservations. But first, let's ask the late, great Anthony Bourdain, the host of No Reservations, his thoughts on what to eat when you go to a new city and where he goes when he comes home to New York.
Ask yourself what any traveler should ask going anywhere for the first time, especially if they have limited time there. What do they do there that is unique to that place, that they inarguably do better than anybody else in the world? What are we the best at? What do we have that you definitely do not have? I'll tell you, we have good deli. We have better deli than you. So I would go to Russ and Daughters or Pastrami Queen or Katz's. I'd get myself a good pastrami sandwich on rye.
From Monday through Friday, while the school is in session, you can visit any of the public restaurants that serve as a live classroom where future Michelin, James Beard Award, and successful chefs practice with paying customers. The American Bounty is a farm-to-table focusing on the ingredients that the Hudson Valley produces. The meal offerings include contemporary and traditional set in a casual, elegant stage, providing an unparalleled dining experience. The Bocuse is named after the famous French chef, Paul Bocuse. This restaurant reimagines classic French cuisine using ultra-modern cooking techniques. Ristorante Caterina de Medici overlooks the herb and rose garden and the Hudson River. Your dining takes place in a Tuscan-style villa where the kitchen and staff take you on a regional Italian cuisine flight. The Post Road Brew House is the other reservations-free restaurant. This is a perfect place for hanging out with friends and family in a pub designed to elevate bar food and craft beers. Note that the CIA also has campuses in California and Texas, and they also have restaurants as well. After taking a look at that display case, and the display menu above, what would you order? While we wait for the meal to be prepared, they gave us one of those signposts and we looked for a table. In the meantime, let's ask 3 Michelin-starred chef Grant Achatz how he got in the world of cooking.
Coming from a diner and watching my mother and father work really hard, creating basically comfort food. Because looking back, watching me flip burgers and make omelets at my father's diner, they couldn't even fathom how I was gonna transcend that huge gap. But I remember clearly telling them, I'm gonna own the best restaurant in the country someday. And they would all laugh. They thought that was hilarious. I felt it was my obligation to take that a step further and almost to realize his aspirations of being a chef, but never having the resources to really get there.
So, in between dishes, I'm going to ask some of the alumni chefs some questions and let them answer. The first item they dropped off is the beef barley soup, which had evenly diced carrots and potatoes. However, for me, I would like to have more barley and more herbs and seasoning. The soup included a freshly made French roll that was baked just right for the perfect crust. The fluffy crumb underneath smelled so good and perfectly soaked up the soup, which improved the dish overall. As a meal, this was a good start. Here's some advice when going to culinary school by Marcus Samelsson.
And bring a notepad, so you can write down. Ask questions and always finish with, yes, chef.
Yes, chef.
For our beverage, we ordered the specialty unsweetened green tea with citrus and ginkgo. It was refreshing with a very slight green tea brew. I was expecting a stronger punch of lemon and some bitterness of the ginkgo, but all the flavors were muted. Not sure if this was worth the price for flavored water.
High-quality tools.
Let's listen to Kat Cora as she explains some tools that any chef needs to get started.
Get some tools for that, but they don't have to spend a fortune, Go and find, they can get one good chef knife and start their collection.
Yes, even finer than our own classic ginsu.
And they can get one great saute pan and start their collection.
One of my favorite things to eat, and I had high hopes for this pork belly bao. However, just upon inspection, it looked dry. No glistening grease from the fat. There was not enough juice from the pork or fat to make your taste buds want more. The sweet and salty hoisin sauce and the little texture from the anemic amount of the finely julienne sliced carrots was not enough to improve the experience. Every chef should put their personality in each dish they make. Here's Duff Goldman explain what he likes to do.
I always want to put something surprising in there so people they get a cake and then they go to cut into it and then it falls apart and there's another cake inside of it or something like that.
This loaded baked potato leek soup wasn't really loaded at all. Any diced potatoes or leeks. However, the flavor of the ingredients did come through and tasted great. I really wish there was more chunks to make it more heartier. One of my favorite chefs is Richard Blais. I love how he explains how he became a fancy chef.
The first batch of Filet-o-Fish I sent out, I forgot to put the top bun on it. So I was being avant-garde way before I knew that was sort of actually my calling.
When I read there was a jalapeno popper grilled cheese, I was excited to see maple candied jalapeno bacon with a 3-cheese combo of white cheddar, jalapeno jack cheese, and pentimento cheese spread. As I pulled the sandwich out of the insulated bag, I was unimpressed by the thickness, but more importantly, the kitchen wasted an opportunity to grill that sourdough with butter and used a panini press instead. While the thickness of the sandwich was a disappointment, let's see if there was some kind of cheese pull. Now to the important stuff. Let's see if the cheese and bacon flavors made it worth ordering. The tangy flavor of the sourdough complemented the cheese and bacon. And what would have kicked it up a notch would be some sliced tomatoes and a tomato-based soup, but the potato leek soup would have to do. Dunking the sandwich in the potato leek soup was an interesting experiment. Neither good or bad. Here is the eggplant Milanese in a flour tortilla that wraps around a thinly sliced eggplant breaded with seasoned breadcrumb. Let's drizzle on some of that balsamic vinaigrette. Some sliced mozzarella, red peppers, mesclun leaves, and artichoke hearts. Sounds great. Now for that initial bite. I will say this combination was really good. They get the flavors of that toasted breadcrumbs with oregano, with the slight sweetness of the eggplant played with the dairy from the cheese, the veggies with the tortilla provide a pleasant mouthfeel and rounded out the sweet vinegar from the balsamic. I didn't forget about the cookie review. Stay tuned. Now the students get to eat at a place called the Egg. And the anyone can pop in to eat delicious meals made by their peers that other schools will envy. Instead of a horrific cafeteria food, the CIA students can eat at the Egg, where they will find leveled up cafeteria food. You won't find caviar or A5 Wagyu steak, but food made with high quality. Not made from old ladies wearing hairnets. I started a video with a chocolate chip cookie. Let's talk about it a little bit more.
Is it worth it? Oh yeah, it's worth it. If you're strong enough.
It's a perfect size and thickness, unlike Levain's super cookie height. The cookie was structurally sound, as it did not fall apart, but cracked evenly. Let's take a bite. The crumb was slightly dense and wasn't overly sweet. The snap of the semi-sweet chocolate chips combined with the dough had an excellent mouthfeel that tasted delicious. And that's how the cookie crumbles. A trip to the Culinary Institute of America is definitely worth the trip, where you can check out what the next generation of chefs are being taught. And the next time you visit any restaurant, that chef behind the line might have graduated from the CIA. The world's premier culinary college.